Successful people tend to do what failures don't like. Everyone lives according to their habits. Some affect your life, but there are also those that directly affect your pocket. Most of the time, people don't realize the negative financial habits that repeatedly deprive them of any chance of success. I believe it is possible to get rid of bad financial habits and replace them with good ones. This is the only way to increase the amount of money in your life. So if you want to know more, keep watching this video. This is your main channel about finance and wealth mindset. Click the subscribe button now and join the ranks of future multimillionaires. I live quite modestly. I still live in a house I bought for $25,000 in 1957. I prefer regular transportation to a private plane, and I play bridge instead of billiards. It is this unexpected combination of immense wealth and simple living that attracts worldwide interest. I chose my own path and no one bothered me at 5 or 6 in the morning. Besides, I always like to read. My aunt gave me the World Almanac, which I still keep, and I read my first book on investments in my father's office. To this day, I dedicate 5 to 6 hours a day to reading. The decline in business in the second half of the 20th century. In addition, I tirelessly monitor market trends and gladly share some valuable advice to help people on the path to wealth. When it comes to making money, timing is the most important thing. You don't need to be very smart, just be patient. I want to draw your attention to the monetary habits that I actively use. A healthy habit can easily become the foundation of your wealth, even if your wallet is empty right now. Habit number 1, spend wisely. At first glance, it may seem trivial, but according to statistics, more than 65% of people don't know how to spend money properly. I've said it many times that people tend to think about where to spend money they haven't earned yet. In that case, I advise you to evaluate future purchases not in money, but in the number of hours you spend earning that money. Ask yourself how many hours a month you work and how much money you make from it. Calculate how much an hour of work is worth and compare it with the price of what you want to buy. If you earn $10,000 but want to buy a new Tesla of at least $300,000, question whether it's worth it before you start saving for it. It's important to keep in mind that I encourage people to plan all earnings and expenses, regardless of how much they earn or spend. The problem with $1 million is that it's a lot of money. You have to keep track of it, or it will just disappear and you won't even know where it went. Habit number 2, let money work for you. Instead of saving some extra money in a piggy bank, you need to know how the investment mechanism works. If you just save your savings, they will decrease as inflation reduces real purchasing power. To avoid this, at the very least, you should transfer the money to a savings account with interest higher than inflation. But that's not enough to make money. You need to invest it. But for that, you need to consider different investment options and figure out how not to lose. Saving doesn't necessarily mean investing your money in stocks. Start understanding the investment mechanism itself today. I affirm this and take the time to regularly read the news on the subject every day. Instead of scrolling Facebook or Instagram in the morning, set aside 10 to 20 minutes for some useful reading and analyze what's happening with stocks every day. It is true that the return on shares of US tech giants like Facebook and Google is 30% per year. Isn't it great that social media can not only consume your time, but also provide a lot of useful information? Before continuing, I would like to ask you to support this video and give it a thumbs up. After all, your activity can help more people know about this useful financial information. Habit number 3 is working in unusual conditions. This advice may seem rather strange coming from me, although I myself am an avid assessor of the situation in world markets, sitting in a McDonald's and not in my office chair. I have always associated money with big problems that need to be solved. For this, you need to be able to see things from a different angle. A good confirmation of this is the story related to Albert Einstein. In 1905, Einstein published 4 scientific papers that changed the foundations of modern physics and our understanding of space, time, and matter. Interestingly, he did not write them in a physics laboratory or in his office, but rather in the Swiss patent office. Working in such an environment allowed him not to dwell on laboratory methods. If you read what everyone else reads, you will think like everyone else. And if you think like everyone else, you will not be able to bring anything new or unique. Be curious, seek obscure sources, study what no one has studied. This will be truly valuable to others. I am known for my simple yet profound financial wisdom, I believe that people generally spend their money on absolutely stupid and unnecessary things, thus blocking their path to success. To correct these common financial mistakes, you can change drastically and get rich. First, all poor people tend to neglect personal development. I believe that the best investment you can make today is to invest in yourself, improve your skills, and get a quality education. This can significantly increase your income. While others are looking for people with knowledge, they often don't have time to educate themselves. They want to find someone who already knows what to do, and that person is willing to pay very well for it. If you want to be self-employed, competence in business and processes will never be excessive. When creating your own business, your knowledge and skills are assets that no one can take away from you. Try to gather as much as you can. Using credit cards is the second mistake all poor people make. Of course, credit cards can be convenient and useful, especially when you want to buy something and don't have enough funds. But credit card interest rates absolutely dwarf any benefit. If you forget to pay your debts on time, sit down and calculate how much you can spend in a year to pay off all your credit card debts. I recommend cutting this part of your spending first. You will stop spending more than you earn and save a good amount of money that can be put towards your education, for example. Going to bars and restaurants is one of the most problematic practices. If you have decided to get rich, you must forget this kind of luxury, especially in the phase where you are walking towards financial freedom. As we are all human beings, socializing and having fun is an important part of our emotional well-being, but your financial side will benefit if you give up these luxuries. Unused gym memberships are another expense for the poor. Did you know that statistically 80% of people who buy a subscription drop out of the gym? Now, cheap offers from gym chains are very common. They say you can buy an annual or semi-annual subscription at a very attractive price. In the end, most stop going to the gym. It may seem like you saved a lot by buying a cheap subscription, but you actually lost by not using it. I encourage you to lead an active lifestyle, but I warn against this kind of spending. If you are one of those people who bought an annual membership and then stopped going, first try exercising for free at home or outdoors, or consider a monthly membership that forces you to go to the gym that month. Subscription services are also a financial mistake of the poor. Check and regularly monitor what you are subscribing to. Many times, services that offer a bargain require you to provide your credit card details, so when the free trial period ends, they unexpectedly charge you. Take the opportunity to cancel automatic renewals, then forget again, and you will be charged again. Control your subscriptions. If you have something on offer, set a reminder to disable renewal at the end of the offer. The following financial mistakes are the fundamental ruin of many people. Pay close attention to them, but before that, give this video a thumbs up. If you want to achieve impressive financial success, this thumbs up will be the first step. But most importantly, on the road to wealth, one mistake is gambling, although it may seem like a shortcut to increase your capital quickly. I emphasize the importance of understanding the odds of success in gambling. I encourage people to make financial decisions that benefit their lives in the long run, rather than focusing on short-term wealth options. Many people got burned doing exactly that. It's good to stop when you're lucky, and this process can happen repeatedly. It is important to be able to stop. I am known as one of the greatest investors of all time, which means I know what to do to multiply my capital. It is important to mention that in addition to practical financial advice, I emphasize important human qualities that need to be developed if you really want to be rich. Speaking to students once, I said, from every paycheck, save and use programs that show the percentage of your monthly spending in different product categories. Never lose money. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. It may seem like a strange recommendation. After all, almost no one thinks that losing money is a good idea, but it is very wise and practical advice. Avoid risk as much as possible to be successful and live happily. Never risk what you need for what you want. I myself follow this rule and have never made risky investments. The difference between successful people and those who are really successful is that those who are really successful say no to almost everything. Another tip. My company always has about $20 billion in cash ready to be used at any time. This may seem irrational and goes against the general principle of financiers to invest money and not keep it under the mattress, but that's what saved mine during the 2008 crisis. Money for a company is like oxygen for the body. You never think about it when you have it and only think about it when you don't have it. When you don't have it, dollars are somehow more reliable than checks. This rule is especially important for those with irregular income. Unnecessary debts, credit cards, term loans, mortgages, all of this will lead to a day when loan payments will exceed expenses and there will be no money. I've seen a lot of people fail because of alcohol, but I've also seen a lot break down because of an excessive desire to drink. If you're smart, you can make money without credit. Pay attention to small expenses. I always pay attention to small expenses and only trust frugal people. An interesting case that made me think about small expenses happened in China. There, my friend Bill Gates and I went to the local McDonald's for coffee. I insisted on paying the bill and, to everyone's surprise, pulled out some discount coupons he had brought from the United States to partially pay for the meal and save money. Think of a decade, not a month. Most people make the same mistake of trying to make the most of the present moment. Don't look for quick profit. Investing successfully takes time, discipline, and patience. No matter how talented you are or how hard you work, some things take time. You can't have a baby in a month by getting 9 women pregnant. Think in terms of decades, gradually accumulating the amounts needed for your children's education or your retirement. Read everything you can about finance. Go to bed at night smarter than when you woke up in the morning. A large part of my job as an investor is to minimize risk and reduce costs. And what is it for a normal person, not a financier? It's when you don't know what you're doing. The more you learn about money and its laws, the greater your financial culture will be. You will be able to better manage your money and know how to get the most out of it. No matter how much you have, money is not everything. Some material things have made my life happier, but if you have too many, it will do the opposite. I wouldn't give up a plane, but half a dozen houses is a problem. In my opinion, it often happens that a large number of possessions begin to possess the owner, so don't forget other equally important values such as health. Without it, success is impossible. The same goes for friends. I consider my friends to be the most important thing after health. Be brave. In 1951, when I was under 20, I took a train to Washington, D.C. and knocked on the door of the headquarters of the insurance company Geico, where Benjamin Graham, my future mentor, worked. My bold appearance in Graham's office led him to give me a 4-hour lecture on the insurance industry. Graham became a consultant to Geico, and I remained connected to the company for years in the following years. Today, Berkshire Hathaway, my company, owns Geico, and Berkshire's insurance interests are what I call one of the crown jewels of the company. If I hadn't dared to show up at Geico that day 72 years ago, none of this would have happened, but boldness has its rewards. Make tough decisions early on. Berkshire Hathaway's main market was textile mills. I had supported them for many years, but in 1985 I sold the factories because the business was no longer profitable. It was a difficult decision for me, but important for future success. For example, it is more profitable to forego expensive vacations and invest in a retirement fund. The path to financial success for any rich person is paved before bed. Almost all poor people don't. It's about planning. Every night before you go to bed, write a list of the most important things you need to do in the morning to achieve success. Analyze what you did during the day, draw conclusions, adjust your direction. Write down the tasks, and in the morning, in your head and on a piece of paper, you will have a ready-made plan. Fulfilling it, indestructible success awaits you. This is your main channel about finance and wealth mindset. Subscribe now and get rich inevitably.